Since my unfortunate timer did not work that time, we're going to have a little bit of a repeat of the last 2 minutes for me. Hopefully, online, nobody will notice, and the fact that I can't properly set my timer will not be noticed to you. So anyway, I know what's going to happen for the next 2 minutes. You don't. Ha 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 ha. So here we have Zero failing at a drop, killing off all of his Zerglings needlessly before he finally gets his swarm down and then proceeds to destroy all of Fantasy's units, protecting 3rd and 4th. And having known what happens here, I'm going to explain something right now. See all the units, the green units right here? Yeah, you don't, because there aren't any. Fantasy has nothing defending the left side of the map here. And what he's doing is he's moving all of his forces right here towards Zero's natural. He's going to put on a big push, try to end it. While Zero is going to be going for a drop in Fantasy's main like this. We have 2 poor little Zerglings over here destroying things. And we have a simultaneous drop right here. Zero dropping the 9 o'clock and the main at the same time. The main drop sort of, he loses all the overlords. But he gets 2 Ultralists down, which is not trivial to deal with, and a Plague on these Goliaths, so that sucks. But this is really the important part. There are no units. Like, his entire 3rd and 4th are exposed, and Zero is going to use this opportunity to really harass those expansions, and Fantasy's force to lift his 4th. His Ultralists and his mineral line over here at his 3rd, destroying his SCVs. The drop at his main, he hasn't been able to clean this up because there's so much happening right now, and he's going to lose his armory, which means no more upgrades for him. That's not what he wants to happen. His force here, though, his whole army is sitting in front of Zero's natural. I imagine Zero has a Nidus Canal up at the other main's base. It means he's not really contained, and this Ultralist has 15 kills, and they're almost all SCVs. That one has 4. And Ultralists aren't supposed to be doing the damage, they're supposed to be taking the hits, so that's pretty much ridiculous. They're just Ultralists all over. Every one of Fantasy's bases has an Ultralist in it, pretty much. And Zero's basically expanding all over the place. On the other hand, wow, that's a lot of tanks. Fantasy only has to survive for a few more moments, and then his tank army is just going to roll Zero's main. Zero's not even bothering to defend his main. And this is kind of scary for Fantasy. Fantasy's not really mining right now. His main and his natural mine. Oh man. If only you had 1 sunken, or like 3, or well, I guess more than 3, but like a couple Zerglings there. You wouldn't be getting owned right now, but now all your drones are going to die, Zero. All of his drones pretty much are dead at this point. He's got the drones at the 8 o'clock position. That's it. And wow, that's a nice use of Plague and Drop. Dropping Zerglings on plagued tanks, and they just instantly evaporate. But Fantasy's still got a huge Doom army. Oof. There goes another science vessel, and there's no protection. There's no anti-air. Ow! Science vessels getting scourged left and right. And I think Fantasy is backing off after destroying Zero's natural. I think that's really the correct thing to do. He needs mining. He needs to retake his 3rd and his 4th. And Zero's just doing the correct Zerg thing. He's expanding everywhere. He's expanding here. He's expanding here. Well, I think that one got destroyed. He's trying to retake this natural. That's what Zero needs to be doing, especially against this mech army. Okay, it's not quite destroyed yet, but it will be soon if Zero doesn't do anything about it. He's going to try to get down there in time. This is exactly what Zero needs to be doing against a somewhat immobile mech army. You know, obviously the vultures are mobile, but the tanks can't move all that particularly fast. I didn't even see Fantasy taking this base, but Zero clearly did, and is untaking it for Fantasy, killing all of the SCVs before Fantasy does anything about it. He still hasn't lifted that command center. Fantasy looks depressed about the state of things, which I mean is understandable, I guess. But I don't think he's in that terrible of a position. I think he really wanted to finish it off with that last push towards Zero's natural, and he wasn't able to. And now he's sort of being forced to adapt his game plan. And we're going to see another drop in Fantasy's main, and there's just nothing back to defend this because he hasn't been producing units because he doesn't have any mining. This drop's going to do a ton of damage. Which we're not getting to see because, yes, okay. So yeah, this is going to kill off a lot of stuff. Fantasy's trying to move tanks back in position, but he's being forced to fight up his own ramp. So the miss-hit percentage working out in Zero's favor here, while consuming an Overlord to have enough mana for Swarm. Zero is obviously being pushed down to the wire here too. Mine. Oof! Gets the Defiler, that's nice. Although it was probably pretty much out of energy at this point too. And wow, Vulture Focus Fire taking down a hatchery there. So I think Fantasy's got his third back up. His fourth is not mining at all. Fantasy lost like all of his SCVs. Conversely, no drones for Zero either. So and Zero's gonna lose this hatchery too. And wow, Fantasy's vultures are just everywhere. Fantasy did this sort of interesting switch, this interesting build, and really, I don't think that's what's keeping him in the game. What's keeping his game is just Fantasy being ridiculous with vultures. He's got vultures everywhere, and they're killing all sorts of Zerglings. Drones. They're killing all sorts of drones. They're not killing the Zerglings. The Zerglings are killing Fantasy's base, which is bad because Fantasy probably needs those supply depots. It'd be nice if we could get a FP view of Fantasy and see if he's supply blocked or not, because he just looked like 8 supply depots. And Fantasy's got a big expensive mech army all around the map. And Fantasy's fourth, being forced to cancel again. This poor Nexus down there still has not managed to get focus fired into oblivion, despite the fact that these vultures have been down there the whole time. And siege tanks versus Zerglings. Ouch. Not good for siege tanks. So this is sort of the mobility problem of mech late game. If Fantasy had M&M and dropships, you could drop that 6 o'clock expansion and take it out pretty easily, assuming it doesn't get scourged. But now his things that aren't vultures can't get down there. And vultures can't kill that unless they're sitting there by themselves forever. It looks like we're going to see yet another drop in the main. Fantasy irradiates an Overlord to make that a little less effective. It's not going to stop the Ultras from getting out of that Overlord. And now they're inside his base, killing his stuff, killing his army again. Another Fantasy's shutting down another base from Zero though. So Zero's killing buildings, which is always good, but Fantasy's killing expansions, which are necessary. And we're seeing FP view from, and wow, Zero's actually supply capped because he's lost so many Overlords with these drops. That's not good for him. Oof! Oh, epic mind drag. Ooh, man, 2 tanks and 2 Goliaths go down, but so do 2 Ultras, so that's no good. And wow, I think judging from Zero's FP view, he's really in trouble. He's only got 2 mining bases basically. That's again same as Fantasy, and Fantasy is look at the map control. Green, red around the outside. Fantasy has the entire map that isn't directly a mining base of Zero, and I think that's pretty much going to end this soon. Yeah, Zero's mining is pretty much falling apart at this point, and yeah, so it's a pretty exciting game, really. I really like Fantasy's strategy.